Everyone out there in YouTube land, Dan here for Geekcast Radio, doing another must-read comic book video. This is where I talk about some of the best books and explain to you why you must read them. This time I'll be discussing Demon. This is written by Jason Shiga. I hope I'm saying that correctly. And what's interesting about this book, and this is actually the volume 2, and this is has multiple volumes, up to 4, I believe. But this originally started as a digital comic online. And the benefit of this is that if you want to read this, you can go right to his website, and I'll put a link down below and begin reading it right away. I actually picked this up originally from the library. It may not seem like a library-friendly book, but to kind of explain what Demon is about, I will say this ultimately. I feel like giving the premise away does ruin a little bit. Just say if you're a person that likes books that have twisted humor, that can be somewhat juvenile in that sense of humor, but also be really smart at the same time, that is what Demon is. I think some people might be a little turned off by the way the areas it goes, but if you can go with it, it's hilarious and it's a lot of fun. So if you putting that out there, because I think one of the most favorite things I did with this series, reading it, was not knowing anything about it, going right in, and the opening it won me right over once I figured out exactly what's going on. And it opens up with our main character, and he's in a hotel room, a cheap looking motel room, and he's writing a letter, and he kills himself. Odd way to begin a book, right, where you're dealing with the main character, and right away he commits suicide. Obviously not the most comedic thing in the world, but what ends up happening, he wakes up and he sees that he's alive still, and he's in a hotel again. So did he actually not do it? What exactly did he dream that he did? Was it some sort of miracle? He ends up doing it again and again and again. Eventually, what he realizes, as the title indicates, is that he's a demon, so he can't die. When he does kill himself, what ends up happening is his presence, his essence, gets transformed into whatever person is closest to him, whatever human individual is closest to him, and things kind of escalate from there. And why it ends up, Jason, who is the writer of this, is also a mathematician, or I know he went to school for math, and math actually ends up playing a big role in this, because what we find out is there's actually this secret police force that look out to take out people like this that have this power, and all the different things they have to try to figure out and do, learn like all the different elements of this power, like how close do you have to be, what is the range, how do you get someone so they can't kill themselves, and it ends up being rather smart in how it deals with just the concept within itself. It doesn't just have this concept and throw it out there, but it really goes into the rules in a detailed and interesting manner. But also, I think even though this is dealing with the absurdity, there is something in this. You can definitely tell this is a person working through things, personal demons, but not necessarily making it melodramatic. It is quite humorous. It's a lot of fun. There are pieces of this that certainly remind me a lot of like classic spoof comedies. There seems to be a lot of love in this from movies from Die Hard. There's like an amazing sequence of people fighting midair through skyscrapers and stuff like that. But the art is, it's not necessarily, it's cartoony, but it fits the style of the story perfectly. I think if it was very realistic or really detailed, it would ruin it, and it would, like, that the comedy would not work. It would come off as much more distasteful. As we see, we're dealing with, ends up being our, I won't say antagonist, but certainly he is the foe to our main character. And the scope of the story expands. It's gigantic from time. He ends from time to land. It's insane, all things that happen. And our main character, let's say, is a rather despicable person. Like I think the coat and the opening, it really says it's all from Nerdist, bizarre, sick, funny, and more, and a little depraved, all of which are part of its charm. And you honestly kind of feel bad liking it, but in a good way, that idea of a guilty pleasure. But there's also a nice little father-son dynamic, father-daughter, I should say, dynamic in this too, because the reason this person wanted to kill himself was because he lost his family. And he's dealing with that, but just the lengths that he will go it's rather remarkable, and it's just the person kind of reminded me of like Kyle Stark's sense of humor a little bit, especially with how it deals with like the action, cartoony, not different, cartoony in a different way, and I think a lot more graphic per se, but certainly a lot of fun, and I just was like, this is a book legitimately I could not put down. I kept reading it. It's hard to laugh reading a comic, even though they were called the funny books at one time. I laughed nearly endlessly while reading this. Didn't necessarily feel great about myself while doing it, but hey, it certainly worked. And I do like books that can push that envelope, but not do it in a way where it's like, hey, look at me, I'm being edgy, I am being clever, I am pushing the boundaries. I don't necessarily think it's necessarily doing that. It's very self-aware, but not self-aware in the stuff that it's too aware of its own importance, or trying to act like it is doing more than it's trying to accomplish. It's very within itself. So I would highly recommend picking this up and reading it. If within the first few chapters, if it's not for you, you'll know right away. If you like it and enjoy what it's going at right away, you'll end up finding it. Like this is like the best Adult Swim cartoon that hasn't happened yet. If you think like something like I Hate Fairyland from Scotty Young, I think kind of this may be right down your alley as well. So I'll put, like I mentioned, the link below, so you can end up reading it right now, or if you, like I said, go to your local library, pick it up online. It's relatively cheaply priced, and there's about 4 volumes. I've read them all, own them all, and hopefully we'll be diving deeper in an episode of Comic Concierge sometime in the future as well. But just wanted to throw this out there because I think it's, again, a book that is great and that I don't see nearly enough people talking about. Alrighty, well that's it for me. Just remember, comics are for everyone. The key is finding the right one. Until next time, thanks for watching.